Hello, my name is Brenna Hose. I am an Alma College sophomore, and I enjoy playing soccer and spending time with friends and family. In this presentation, I will be talking about behavior management and social skills. The problem with kids today is that they have behavior problems. Educators are facing immense difficulties as the number of students with social and emotional and behavioral challenges increase. Between 1976 and 2004, the number of students served in the emotional disturbance category has doubled. Adults no longer model submissiveness and obedience, so kids challenge authority as well, and including teachers and administrators. Positive behavior support is an initiative that has made the focus on positive, proactive approaches rather than negative, reactive ones. This approach focuses not just on fixing the student with behavioral challenges, but also looking at the learning environment. The positive behavior system has been under scientific research. Since educational research is complex, scientific research on the positive behavior system embraces flexibility. The systematic data is invaluable to evaluate and guide intervention. In the positive behavior system, there's a three-tiered model. In Tier 1, all students receive universal intervention. Some students that don't respond to the first tier receive a more intense intervention, which is Tier 2. This is in a small group setting. A few students go up another level and receive intensive intervention, which is Tier 3 and more individualized. Having interventions at all levels cut down on the number of minor behavior problems that teachers tend to see in the classroom. The purpose of a functional behavior assessment examines why problem behaviors occur. There are three key concepts of an FBA, or a functional behavior assessment. The setting of events. This is not just where an event happens, but you know it's going to be a bad day when, an example of this is you know it's going to be a bad day when he spends the night at his mom's rather than his dad's. Another problem behavior is triggering antecedents. These can be internal or external. There's often a setting event is present and causes a negative emotion, and the student shows problem behaviors that may seem out of nowhere. So an example of this is when there's a change in schedule, loud noises, a strong scent in the room, and other things can also trigger this. The third key concept of the functional behavior assessment is maintaining consequences. This refers to what naturally happens after the behavior that reinforces it, or what the student gets out of them acting out. To evaluate a child using an FBA, you must first have an idea of what is driving a student's behavior. To determine an intervention, an assessment is for Tier 3 students and intensive behavioral needs. This form is sectioned off into 8 parts: student data, problem behaviors, triggers and antecedents, consequences, the current plan, student input, other, and the summary. In the student data, that is where the name of the child goes, the date the assessment is being taken place, how many times the problem behavior has occurred, and who is reporting. For problem behaviors, you want to have specific, measurable, and observable behavior that the student has completed of why you are writing the assessment. The triggers and antecedents, you put what has happened before the behavior occurs, where the behavior occurs, when it occurs, what is the setting, what events happen before, during, and after, and if the child has any health issues. On consequences, you need to put what happens after the problem behavior occurs, what the teacher and the students react, and the function for the student. Under the current plan, you need to write the help that the student is receiving in reducing the problem behaviors. For number 6, student input, you can provide valuable insight to the function behavior. So when you ask the student, why he or she is acting out in a certain way in class or during a specific time, you can figure out what the student wants out of their reaction and their behaviors. For other, you're looking at current strengths and motivations of the student and also a replacement behavior for the behavior that is currently happening. In the summary, you come to a conclusion that focuses on the target behavior and the function that it plays for the student. The common functions of problem behavior include to get attention, to get something tangible, to get power or control, to meet a sensor need, to communicate feelings, wants, and needs as a result and a lack of understanding, and to escape or avoid something such as work. The bottom line of an FBA is that behavior is not simply just behavior. Consider why a behavior is happening, and it will lead to a more effective response, improved behavior, and less frustration for you as a teacher. The model of intervention encourages the students to meet the function in an appropriate way. Begin with instruction and prevention, which happen after the functions have been identified. Once they learn the skills, they should be encouraged through reinforcement. Only after these stages have been met should undesirable consequences be implemented. What I learned through the research of an FBA are the steps leading up to an FBA, the steps on filling out an FBA, and what to do after an FBA is in place. Now we will talk about the social skills. In the book Marvelous Me, it focuses on self-acceptance. The character count standard it focuses on is SE 1.4, self-acceptance. The three-tiered approach, like we just talked about, is school-wide or class-wide, which is Tier 1, which is all the students. Tier 2, which is in a small group instruction, which is just some of the students. And Tier 3, which is a few of the students who receive individualized instruction. This book can fit in with Tier 1 or 2. I feel like this would be a book that could go to the whole school, and the whole school could read it, but I believe it's based on the classroom. So depending on if your students need self-acceptance, need that lesson of self-acceptance. It's not like field trips where everybody needs it in the whole school, which would be a Tier 1. So I believe this book mostly fits in with the Tier 2 and the small group instructions. The problem with self-acceptance, it can negatively affect others by allowing the parents to determine the self-acceptance of their child. They can do this by telling their child they aren't smart enough or pretty enough or good enough to do something. This hinders the child from having self-acceptance. Another way self-acceptance can negatively affect people is when people do not have self-acceptance. They may develop depression or anxiety later in life. The objective of the lesson is to have students accept themselves and their own abilities and interests, and not just to judge themselves based on comparison of other people. Some key terms that the student should understand before diving into this book is what the word marvelous means, and it is extremely good or pleasing, splendid. What the word imagination means, which is the ability of the mind to be creative, resourceful. And the last word I believe is extremely important is twins. Some students may not understand what a twin is, and it is one of two children born at the same birth. Here we will read the story Marvelous Me.
Marvelous Me, Inside and Out. My favorite books and movies are about superheroes. There's one superhero that I bet you don't know. It's Marvelous Me. Marvelous Me can do super cool things. I have legs that can race a flying football. I have eyes that can see far across the field. Doing all of these things takes a whole lot of energy. That's why superheroes have to eat their broccoli. My brain can do super cool things too. I can read a comic book all by myself. I can count all the cookies in the jar. I can remember all 9 planets and the name Tyrannosaurus Rex. Marvelous Me can turn the couch into a pirate ship and my bike into a race car. Mom calls that using my imagination. I call it playing make-believe. Playing pirate and race car driver are only some of my favorite things. I love telling knock-knock jokes. I love polar bears and bats. I can eat more strawberry ice cream than any other superhero. Sometimes superheroes don't feel happy. I feel sad when my best friend Raymond moved away. I get mad when my dog chews my toys. I feel bored when I have to clean my room. But Dad says that even superheroes have to do their chores, so when I vacuum, I pretend I'm a roaring dragon. People get confused sometimes because there's someone who looks just like me. He's just my size. He's got the same hair and eyes. He's even got the same birthday. He's my brother, Andy. He's also my twin. Andy and I may look the same to you, but our mom and dad know that we're different. Andy likes chocolate ice cream better than strawberry. I'm better at math and he is better at reading. Dad says we each have our own special smile. Mom says it's the me inside that makes me special. Nobody else laughs like I do. Nobody else knows how to give me a giant grizzly bear hug. And only I know all the funny things inside my head. Inside and out, I'm super special hero. I'm not just Alex. I'm the one and only Marvelous Me. There's one more superhero I think you already know. Can you guess? It's Marvelous You.
Now, we would do a worksheet with the kids after reading this book. And this worksheet is based off of the book. Number 1, it says draw yourself as a superhero, so the students would have some fun with this and creating themselves to look like either Batman or their own type of superhero. What kind of things can you do that are similar to the things that Alex can do in his book? This would be like memorizing planet names, saying certain things like long words, or doing something spectacular that they think is spectacular. Write down 3 super cool facts about yourself. So this is where students get to brag about themselves a little bit. Number 4, what are some of your interests? Again, they can say what they're excited about, what they like doing. Then number 5 really focuses on the part of the book where he talks about his twin. It says, do you have any siblings? And if so, how are you different? So not just focusing on what you have in common with somebody, but how are you different, and learning to accept that and really feel like you're an individual and accept it. Number 6 is what makes you marvelous. So just having the students reflect on why they're amazing. And then we can go around either in groups or just as a class and discuss these things and really have the students accept themselves. And student learning. I will know that the students understand self-acceptance when they can describe the ways in which they are marvelous, just like Alex in the story. For independent practice, I will have them take cutouts of paper people and have each student have one. They will draw themselves on the paper cutout and write things on the arms, the legs, the body, and the head that make them marvelous. I hope that the student has learned how to accept themselves even when their interests or looks are different from others.